Hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to play default as a T on train in CS2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. By the way, we are doing free giveaways every month. In these giveaways, you can win various CS2 skins and free CS2 course access passes created by a Faceit level 10 coach who has experience in high tier CS2 teams. To sign up, simply visit the CS2 Pulse giveaway page and follow the instructions. Link is in the description. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So on train T side, there are several spawns that really matter in the start of the round, so we're gonna be discussing them right now. So firstly, the player who has the best spawn in the start of the round needs to instantly run towards the area where Pop Dog is. He just needs to run straight ahead, and another benefit of this player's spawn is that he can instantly molly this area where the T's love to push for stairs, and then he can instantly drop down and run down towards Pop Dog. Taking Pop Dog control in the start of the round is really crucial because it's really the first duel that the T's and the CTs can take if they're taking the control on CT side as well. But if the T has full control over this area, then committing towards A side is really easier and it becomes really faster, especially if your teammates, for example, just quickly throw a simple lineup to flash any of the CTs, like for example this one standing on top of the trash can, aiming slightly to the left like so, and then popping out with the flash becomes really easy because you can just turn around, wait for the flash to pop, and instantly peek out. This flash is very effective, blinding any of the CTs who might be standing in various different positions. That's why I really suggest that taking Pop Dog control should be a priority for you if you're going to be playing default. Aside from that, this player can play really calm until his teammates decide to push main together with him, because he can't really push out unless his teammates take control of this area. So ideally you do have to have some sort of camera smoke. For example, you can have a simple camera smoke by positioning yourself directly where this pole is with the slight dark mark on it, aiming in the top of the roof, jump throwing to throw a simple smoke towards camera. So if you do have camera smoked and you're a main player, you can definitely push out and take the control of it, and only then you and your teammate can push out together towards this area, because once this player from A main gets behind red, then he can also focus together with him on connector, the default side, and of course behind electric as well. So then they together can instantly peek out and take a lot of control. So with that, you should definitely help out your teammate who is going to be playing in Pop Dog as an A main player. This brings me to my second player, which also really needs a really good spawn for this to work. This is going to be the A main player, as I mentioned. He's going to just quickly run straight ahead, take this position straight ahead like so. He can also try to catch anyone who might be running through camera towards Ivy in the start of the round, just trying to quickly pre-fire, for example, or just simply tab them if he gets the spot, or deal any sorts of damage. And this is why it's very effective to have a really good spawn towards A main, because you can just instantly try to entry out, and if you don't even, you can just camp in this corner and wait out for your Pop Dog teammate to get into position, so you and him can position yourself together in this area and just take the control of A side way easier, especially if you get some sort of entry frag if anyone decides to push towards A main from the CT side. So then it's one of the more crucial positions that you need to have, because you're also going to be one of the best entryers in the side, since entering A side is way easier than going towards B side. Even though there is a single player standing in towards B side most of the time, it's still way more open in A side, and you have way more angles that you can consistently try to catch off guard. And you can also have an op if you have a really good spawn to just quickly try and kill anyone who's in camera, or anyone who's going to be playing in this Ivy lane where yellow train is. So you can definitely use some sort of these plays to try to get an instant entry frag, because it's very easy from this position. Now let's talk about the other spawns. These are going to be just very simple spawns that the T's can split up in between. Spawns don't really play a huge role in all of these positions, but they're just still crucial if you want to have a really good default on T side train. So the first position I'm going to talk about is going to be the player who's going to be supporting the first main player. He's just going to be running the same path as this player, and he's just going to run in towards this area, and if his teammate decides to entry out in the start, he can also assist him, try to refrag him if he dies. And this is also just a very supportive position. He can also throw several lineups, for example. For example, this player can be standing where these white marks on the wall are, aim directly in the second wooden tile, and then just run forward for 1 second and left click throw to throw a pretty decent Molotov that lands in towards this area where train electric is. And you do have to learn this lineup consistently, so in my opinion you should go to prac servers and practice these types of lineups, because they're a bit more difficult to do in the start of the round, and if you just try to guess and just do it randomly, in a regular competitive game, you might just molly off your teammates and cause some harm. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Instead, you just go to a prac server, quickly practice these lineups, and just quickly, then you will have a way higher chance of succeeding in regular matchmaking games. And this player mainly only supports this player, so he's not going to be anything special. He also will have to just simply hold the positions and play aggressive if his teammates do decide to play along with it, and he also can support the pop dog player as well, depending on the scenario. Now let's talk about the B player. This is going to be a player who doesn't really have to have a really good spawn in general. He might have the not least spawn, not the furthest one from this area, but he should have just a default, like a regular spawn that is probably just mediocre or at least decent in some sort of way. But he's just gonna be holding this area, making sure that none of the CTs decide to push. And in my opinion, if your teammate mollies this area that I showed in the first player's POV, this player can instead just go towards the left side and hold this corner, and he can just focus towards this area like so, because playing from that position is a bit difficult as a T since you can't manage a lot of angles correctly. But if you stand here, for example, you can focus towards the heaven side and the stair side as well, so it's a bit better. So this player is just going to be holding this position. Later on in the round, he can try to take some control by peeking stairs, for example. If he clears that, he can focus also towards heaven, and he can just play around this area as well, try to lure, catch someone off guard. If you get an entry in A side, for example, he can just peek out, kill the single guy, and then try to go for a post plant scenario, taking a lot of control. So this is going to be one of these plays that the T in this position can definitely try ahead and do. And apart from this player doesn't really need to do any other specific lineups or utility. He's also just going to be one of the players who's going to be holding the position. And finally, I'm going to talk about the last player, which is going to be the Ivy player. This player in the start of the round doesn't need to have any good spawns whatsoever, because he's just going to be standing in this area where Ivy is, and he's not even gonna fight for any duels, because in this position a lot of oppers love to play in Ivy, so I wouldn't take any duels in my opinion. You can just simply lurk around, wait for your teammates to entry as well, and then you can just start shifting. For example, you can have several benefits, because you can just go throughout this area and flank them if you're gonna do a B execute, for example, or instead you can just shift towards Ivy, try to take camera control, flank them from behind as well. So it's also a pretty good idea to play in this position, but make sure that you don't play too aggressive in here, since you will get shot most of the time, and most of the time the CTs focus on you, whether it is from this range or whether they play a bit further back like so, or they just hold you from camera. They will definitely hold you most likely, so unless they realize that some impact is being done in other positions, for example A side or B side, I wouldn't recommend going here, trying to push, going for entry frags, because even if you do get the Ivy player, you will still have to face the camera player soon enough. So in my opinion, it's just not worth it to play in this position aggressively. Instead, you should play way more passively. So overall, as I mentioned, the main entryers of the site are going to be the A main player and the pop dog player, because they're going to be focusing towards the A side. However, also as I mentioned, you should focus on the heaven player, who's going to be playing in B or anywhere in stairs. He can also do some effective jobs done, and a lot of CTs love to push and take this control as well, so he can definitely catch any CTs off guard, and he can just take the control of site. So these are going to be the main three players that are going to focus on to play aggressive, and the other two are just going to be simple supportive or lurkers. The second A main player is also just going to be a quick supporter, while this player in Ivy is going to be a lurker. So with all of that, you're just going to have a really good default for the site, and you have a really high chance of catching anyone off guard, especially if you use some extra utility. For example, if your teammate gets an entry, one of the players, even the Ivy player, can rotate back, throw a couple of smokes, or the second main player, which is a bit better in my opinion in general than the Ivy player, because it takes way longer for him to rotate. But for example, this player can throw a quick smoke lineup for connector. He can also smoke pop dog if you need it somehow, or instead he can just quickly go back, smoke off camera as I showed the previous lineup, or instead he can also just throw this simple lineup to smoke off this area if your teammates want to quickly cross towards the site and don't want to be spotted by anyone playing in camera, and just want to take the control of electric as well. With this entire setup, you should have a pretty good default towards T side on training. You have definitely a high chance of catching someone off guard, getting an entry frag, and then playing off of that. So I definitely recommend you play in these positions, as I said. And remember to always practice some lineups as well, just in case you need them in a regular default scenario, because you never get a perfect default done. Most of the time, you definitely have to use some specific lineups. So always keep in mind for that. And keep in mind, you do have to communicate very detailedly with your teammates, because some of them might know the perfect perfect default and the other ones might not, so you do have to sometimes tell your teammates what to do. So make sure to remember all of these setups that I showed you and what to do in the start of the round. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. This was how to play default as a T on train in CS2. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment down in the comments below on what you want us to do next, and I'll see you in the next video.